Hi folks, back again. Bathrobe Chronicles number 82. This sure hasn't been a pleasant night. I started off the night by trying to finish up one that was about a young person who died because the parents did not seek medical treatment because of their religious beliefs. And the one before this was about the parents who beat, I believe it was their 7-year-old adopted daughter to death, based on the preachings of some preacher to use a 1/4-inch plastic tube to punish children. Okay, so you remember that one. Okay, that I just finished. Okay. Now, what I'm going to talk about now is there are some states who are now committing sexual offenders when they have been released from prison. In other words, these offenders were convicted in a court. They were told to serve X number of time. They complete that. In other words, let's just assume they're told to serve 15 years. When their 15 years is up, there's no legal way they can be held in prison. At least I assume there isn't. You know, they've served their time. But what Virginia and some other states are doing is they are committing these sexual offenders under civil commitment laws. Now, for those of you who don't know what a civil commitment law, basically what happens in Virginia, and I'm sure every other state in the country has some kind of provision. The commitment laws are used for mentally ill people. So, for instance, you have a mentally ill person who, for whatever reason, is noticed by the law enforcement or their family members or a hospital or what have you, and there's a process they go through. In other words, is this person mentally ill? Yes. Does this person pose a danger to themselves or pose a danger to other people? Or because of their mental illness, are they substantially unable to function in society? And if so, then there's a process that gets them into a psychiatric hospital for further evaluation. In the state of Virginia, once you're in the hospital, you're further evaluated by a psychiatrist, and then within 72 hours, as the law says, you must have what's called a civil commitment hearing. In other words, you have a mentally ill person, they've done something that would allow them to be detained for further evaluation, typically dangerous to self, dangerous to others, substantially unable to care for self, because of mental illness. Not just a mean person who's out there trying to kill people, but in other words, mentally ill person. Then everybody sits around a table. There's a special justice or judge or whomever, court psychologist. It varies a little bit throughout the state, but you have all these people sit around the table. The judge has the paperwork, has the psychiatric evaluation. The psychiatrist has made a recommendation as to what should happen. Then they have this hearing, and the result of the hearing is the person can sometimes be allowed to remain in the hospital voluntarily, or the case could be dismissed. The judge says, hey, there's no evidence here, get rid of this person. Or the judge can commit the person and say, you're staying in this hospital. Now, you can't, in theory, you can't hold a person forever. What happens is every so many days, there has to be another hearing. Okay, that's basically how the civil commitment process works in the state of Virginia. What Virginia is now doing, as well as other states, and I'm not sure how many other states there are, it says here, it says Virginia is one of 17 states with civil commitment laws for sex offenders. Now, what Virginia is doing, if a so-called violent sex offender or predator or whatever term you want to use is being released from prison, and it's felt as though this person is going to harm more people upon their release, then in the state of Virginia, they can try to have them civilly committed to a psychiatric hospital or a place because the state is saying, we know you're going to do something, and therefore we're going to put you away. Now, and evidently it's, the Supreme Court says this is okay. I'm sure there's going to be ongoing court cases, trying to contest this. But so far it seems to be working in our state, working in the sense that they are committing people under this civilly for crimes that they may commit in the future. Now I know this is going to sound truly bizarre, and I readily admit it is, and I'm not suggesting that we should do this. However, if you look at these parents who, because of religion, have done these things, and in all likelihood, it could happen again. I mean, or you take the Scott Roters of the world. Scott Roter, by the way, is the fellow who murdered Dr. Tiller. I covered that in a segment not that long ago. But, I mean, think about it for a minute. They're civilly committing criminals, sexual predators, my battery's blinking, who come out of prison. So they're saying these people are a threat, we're going to get them off the street, period, even though they haven't committed a crime. Battery's blinking, just something to think about. Should we put away the Scott Roters and these other religious whack jobs because we know they're going to harm or kill children? Not saying we should. You guys take care, as Pat Condell would say. Peace.